Once, a wise Zen master gathered her students under the shade of a large tree. As they sat in quiet contemplation, she began her teaching with a question. If someone shot you with an arrow, would it hurt? The students, puzzled, answered, "Of course, master. It would be painful." The master nodded. "Now imagine that after being shot, you immediately pick up another arrow and stab yourself with it. Would that make sense?" The students looked at one another, confused. "No, master. That would only increase the pain," one of them replied. The Zen master smiled gently. "And yet, that is what many of us do every day. The first arrow is the unavoidable pain life gives us, an illness, a loss, a disappointment. But the second arrow is the one we shoot at ourselves through self-blame, guilt, and regret. This second arrow creates unnecessary suffering." The student sat in silence, reflecting on her words. The master continued, "Life will always bring challenges. The first arrow is beyond our control. However, the second arrow is our reaction. We have a choice, to let it go or to wound ourselves further." One student raised his hand. "But master, how do we stop shooting the second arrow?" The master gestured toward the garden. "Do you see the stream? When you drop a leaf into it, the stream carries it away. Your thoughts and feelings are like that leaf. Do not cling to them. Let them pass, and they will no longer burden you." The students nodded, and the master shared a story to illustrate her teaching. A young man named Kenji lived in a small village. One day, while carrying a heavy basket of rice to the market, he tripped and spilled everything into the dirt. Villagers gathered around, some offering to help, others shaking their heads in disapproval. Kenji's face turned red with embarrassment. "I'm such a fool," he muttered, as he picked up the ruined rice. The villagers reassured him, saying it was just an accident, but Kenji couldn't forgive himself. For days, he replayed the incident in his mind, blaming himself for being clumsy. As the weeks went on, the burden of his self-blame grew heavier than the basket of rice he had carried that day. He avoided the market, fearing ridicule, and withdrew from his friends. One day, Kenji decided to visit a Zen temple to seek advice. The master there listened patiently to his story. After a moment, she said, "Kenji, the rice is long gone, yet you continue to carry its weight. You are not suffering from the spilled rice. You are suffering from your own second arrow." Kenji frowned. "Second arrow?" The master explained, "The first arrow was the accident, which is now in the past. The second arrow is the guilt and self-blame you continue to feel. Why do you wound yourself again and again for something that is already done?" Kenji realized the truth in her words. He closed his eyes, imagining the spilled rice as a leaf floating in a stream. As he let go of the guilt, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders. From that day forward, Kenji carried his burdens differently. When life shot its arrows, he acknowledged the pain but chose not to add to it. He became kinder to himself and more understanding of others, realizing that everyone faced their own first arrows. The Zen master ended her lesson under the tree. "Remember, my students, life's challenges are inevitable, but our suffering is often self-inflicted. Release the second arrow, and you will find peace." The students bowed, grateful for the wisdom they had received, and carried the lesson of the two arrows with them into their daily lives.